What is up guys, let's talk about iPod Touch. Apple is expected to launch its iPod Touch 7th generation next year in March event. It's the iPod lineup which makes Apple so popular, and it's very sad to see that Apple completely removed the iPod tab in its website. The iPod Touch 4th generation was my first Apple device and for many people, and now it's the time for iPod Touch 7th generation. Apple will rename its iPod Touch to simply iPod. First of all, let's start with display. Currently the iPod Touch has 4-inch screen and the next generation of iPod will also have 4-inch screen. But the display will be better in terms of brightness, color, contrast and viewing angles. It will be dual tone display which automatically adapts the screen based on the lighting in the room. The glass will be stronger. Now let's talk about the cameras. The current iPod Touch has 8 megapixel camera with f2.4 aperture which does 1080p Full HD video recording at 30 frames per second. It's almost the same camera as iPhone 6. According to recent rumors, the new iPod Touch 7th generation will have 12 megapixel camera with f1.8 aperture. It's a single camera, so no portrait mode and portrait lighting. New features will be added like 6-element lens, quad LED, true tone flash, autofocus with focus pixels, live photos with stabilization, improved local tone mapping, body and face detection, and better noise reduction. The new iPod Touch will also get optical image stabilization, so it will going to be a killer camera. In terms of video quality, it will record video in 4K 30 frames per second, not 60. It will do slow motion video in 1080p at 30 and 60 frames per second and 720p video in 240 frames per second. It will have cinematic video stabilization. The front-facing FaceTime HD camera will also get improvement. The current iPod Touch has 1.2 megapixel camera with f2.2 aperture which does 720p video recording. But the new one, the 2018 iPod Touch, will have 7 megapixel camera which does 1080p video recording. It will also have Retina flash and live photos. Next, let's talk about CPU. iPod Touch 6 uses Apple A8 chip and M8 Motion Core processor. This chip is also found in iPad mini 4 and iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. This chip is 4 years old and people are still crazy to buy 4-year-old iPhone 6. The new iPod Touch 7th generation will get A10 Fusion chip with M10 Motion Core processor. This chip is also found in Apple TV 4K and iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. It is 1-year-old chip, but still it is much faster than many flagship Android phones. iPod Touch 7 will get 802.11 AC Wi-Fi with MIMO and Bluetooth 5.0. It will also get NFC for Apple Pay. The new iPod will finally get Touch ID sensor, not Face ID. The battery life will be improved with video playback time of 15 hours and music playback time of 80 hours. There will be front-facing stereo speakers. It will get sensors like ambient light sensor, proximity sensor, accelerometer, 3-axis gyro, barometer and of course Touch ID. Maybe Apple completely removed the headphone jack from the new iPods. iPod will also get glass back which enable wireless charging. The new iPod will come in new color option which include new gold color of iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. It will be IP68 water and dust resistant. So the new iPod will going to be a killer music player. Finally, let's talk about storage and price. The new iPods will come in two storage options, 64GB and 256GB. The 64GB model will start from $249 and 256GB model will start from $399.